Welcome to Let's Do Science with Mr. Mussett and Sons.
Hello, I'm Mr. Mussett.
I'm Zechariah.
And I'm Malachi. Yesterday we had a look about what sink and what float. Today we are looking about liquid densities. Take it away.
Okay, so you remember when we talked about things floating and sinking, we talked about matter and everything having particles, and depending on how far away or close together the particles were, depending on how dense something was. And so water has its own density, and if something is a higher density than water, it will what?
Float.
No.
Sink.
It's going to sink. If it's got a lower density than water, it will float on that water. That's right. And so all liquids, is that your floating, is it?
That's my
I'm floating.
All liquids have their own density. So we can do something really cool, and we can layer liquids one on top of each other. It's called a
Density column.
Density column. So what we've got some materials. We've got a glass here, right, that we're going to try and fill with different liquids and see if we can get one resting on top of the other. All right, so we'll just leave that there. Zeki, you can have that because you're going to put it first. I'll tell you what some things we've got. We've got some
food coloured water.
Right, it's important that it's coloured red so we'll be able to see it, because if we've got other clear liquids that we're going to use, if they're not coloured you won't know which one's on which. We've got some
fairy liquid.
Some normal washing up liquid. Right. We've got some
honey from
honey.
bees.
Some honey from bees.
And
you told me earlier what an interesting fact was. Honey was basically just what?
Bee sick.
Bee vomit. How disgusting is that? But honey is really, really tasty.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
You will never think the same of honey again.
Right, we've also got
some oil.
Some oil.
Yalla.
And finally,
some white spirit.
This is white spirit.
It's a chemical, so don't go touching it without an adult permission.
Yeah.
Supervision
and permission. Right, now I would recommend, the boys are not going to touch this.
Yeah.
And I would recommend, if you wanted to do something, you'd have to ask a grown-up if you've got any of this around anyway, but get them to do it. Don't touch it yourself. If you've been in one of my Life and Living classes, we've talked about warning labels before. If I hold that right up to the camera, I don't know if you can see, it's got its own warning labels. It's a pretty dangerous thing. You should not touch this with your bare hands if you can help it. You shouldn't, definitely not drink it. It's not a drink. You've got to be careful with it. Right. Okay.
Let's start.
Now, if you're doing this at home, you could put these in any order, and then over time they should settle themselves out, and you should be able to see which ones are more dense than the others. The most dense things, the things with the highest density, will be where in the glass?
At the bottom.
At the bottom, that's right.
And the things with the highest density.
The least density will be at the
top.
That's correct. So you could put them in any order, but we're going to try and do it in the correct order. So we'll see. We've not done this before, so we might get it right.
So first we're putting in honey.
Right, so Zechariah's going to put some honey in.
Through about to there.
Yeah, we're just going to put a little bit in.
And then we're going to show you on the camera.
Alright, keep squeezing, Zeki, keep squeezing.
Then we're going to show you on the camera. Should we put it on the camera? The density column camera.
We can do in a minute, but Zechariah's going to have to move it forward.
Yeah.
Right,
so we're going to put it on the camera.
Here you go. Can you see the honey? The honey's in there.
Be careful.
There we go.
There's a bit of honey.
The honey's in there.
There we go.
So,
that's enough.
now hand me back the glass, because I'm going to need that glass.
Okay. And we finished with the honey.
So there's our honey. Now, in order to put the next thing in, what we're going to do
is use a
very
spoon.
carefully, we're going to use a spoon, and we're going to put the spoon as close as we can to the liquid, and then we're going to pour the next liquid off the back of the spoon. That will allow it to go in really carefully, and hopefully then sit on top. Right, what do you think is the next one?
Washing up liquid.
Washing up liquid. Let's try the washing up liquid.
Let's try it.
Let's try it. So.
Yeah, and if you make these at home, they will look really cool at the end if you put them in on
and
order.
Can you hold that there,
if it worked very well.
Got it? Got it nice and secure? Right, let's see if I can do this.
My dad's doing it well right now. Mr. Mussett.
Oh yeah, my dad, Mr. Mussett, is doing it really well. Whoa, look at them two colours.
Right,
Yeah,
look at
they
that
are
go.
so
Right,
good.
don't move it around too much, because if we move it too much, it's likely to mix.
So
You can put it back on there,
neat
aren't you, so
now.
everybody can see it.
Yep.
So can you see it? Zechariah, do you want to go around and put the light on, see if we can see it better for me?
Yep.
There it is.
My
It's a bit
brother's
dark
gonna
in here,
get
but
some
just see if we
colour.
put the light on, see
Yeah,
what
my
happens.
brother's gonna put some colour in to see.
There you go. Can you see the two different colours now?
Yep.
Right.
They're red
Let's
and
get
blue.
you back to us,
Just move it forward a
and
tiny
let's
bit.
see if we can put some oil on that.
Yeah, oil.
Right,
Let's
I'm going to use a
move.
different spoon because I'm washing up liquid all over my spoon.
Oh yeah.
Right, let me come back over here. Right. Right, hold it straight, Malachi. Can you hold it up a little bit higher for me?
Yeah.
Right, here we go, here we go, here we go.
Oh yeah.
It was first at
Whoa.
blue, and I thought
Right,
the
there we
blue
go.
was
Look
rising.
at that.
Malachi,
Be
put it back
very
in front of the other
careful
camera,
because
and we'll
it's starting to mix.
look at
a
that. Can you
little.
see? Now, if we
Right.
shook it, it would mix up a bit, and eventually it would come back to normal, and it would separate out again.
Yeah.
But if we shook it, it would all mix up, and it might take a bit of time.
But that
Right.
looks good so far. It looks
Yeah.
like a rainbow.
Bring it back.
Okay.
Bring it back.
Very
We're gonna-
carefully because it might mix.
Right, now we've got coloured water. Right, I'm going to try my oil spoon again. Right, can you hold it with your hand around the back so that everybody can see? Right, here we go.
And we have a few more, one more
Ooh, I dropped a
liquid.
bit, I dropped a bit, I dropped a bit. Can you see it? I haven't done that very well.
No.
Ah, do you know what's happened though?
What?
I think we've got the wrong order.
Yeah.
So put it in front of the camera.
Ooh.
Put it in front of the camera. Let me
On the dot.
Yeah, I think we were supposed to be
zoom
do
in.
honey then.
Can you see? I think that water is actually more dense than the oil.
Mhm.
And can you see what's happened to the water? It's actually gone through the oil and it's
Underneath,
sitting.
it's sitting in between the oil, the washing up liquid and the oil.
Look, let's
Because
see.
the oil is more dense than the liquid.
The water's more dense than the
It's the
oil.
water that's more dense, isn't it? Look at
Yeah.
that.
Look at that. It's like a
Right, okay.
rainbow.
Yeah.
So now we've got one more thing to do, and we're going to try
It is very scary.
our surgical spit. It doesn't need to be scary, Zeki. We just need to let an adult do it. Right, we need to let an adult have a go. Right, it's smelly this one, so try not to breathe it in too much. Right, we're pouring it a bit, it's not going
The
exactly
only
right.
thing that I can smell is your hand.
Okay, right.
It's mixed as
It's mixed in a bit, but stick that in front of the camera. If you stick it in front of the other camera, you can just see what we should have done really is coloured it a bit. But you
Yeah.
can just see as it settles. I can see it nicely now. You can just see the
Yeah.
two different lines.
Yeah.
Right, it's a bit harder to see on the camera at home, but you can see those lines nicely there. Right, what we're going to do while that's there is we're going to see. So we had
Yeah.
yesterday. let's
I
come back a minute.
collected some things around the house just like yesterday, but I had permission for these to drop them in the density column.
Right, so we know that some of these things will float on water and some of them will sink. But if we drop them in, we'll see whether or not they're more dense or less dense than the other liquids as well.
So
let me go
first,
back over. Are
yeah.
you going
So
to tell them what you've
first
got?
we have a Shopkin, then we have a cereal cornflake, and we have a Haribo Heart Sweet, and we have a single Lego stud.
Right, okay, let's go back over to
First
the
we're going to put
close-in
the
camera.
single Lego stud in.
Right, drop the single Lego stud in. Where's it going to go?
Ooh.
Oh.
Into the water.
So it floats on the water. So can you see? I don't know if they can see that. Can we turn it around? Oh,
Ooh.
see what I've done? As I've moved it, I've made it sink a bit because the Lego is hollow, and so the water has got into the top. So the water is now pushing down. It's changed the density of the thing a little bit. So it's now pushing its way through the washing up liquid as well. Right.
Now we are going to do
It'll
a
be stuck.
Shopkin.
It might be
Right,
stuck.
here comes the Shopkin. Oh, the Shopkin was really heavy. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Shopkin.
It sunk to the honey.
Oh.
It's stuck in the honey.
Right, now see, the honey
Yeah.
is really quite dense. And one way we might describe liquid when we talk about densities, it's really thick, isn't it, honey? As well. And so, if you look, the Shopkin is looking to me like it's just starting to sink through the honey, but it's going to take a bit of time because the honey is so thick.
So next we are going to do a Haribo Heart Sweet.
Oh, that was heavy as well.
That's heavy. That's gone into the washing up liquid and just sit on the bottom of the washing up liquid.
Okay.
Next, I think it's the
Right, so cornflake last.
Yeah, a cornflake.
Let's see what happens. Can you see the cornflake? I don't know if you can see it on the camera. Let me turn it round. Can you see the cornflake? That is less dense than even a white spirit. So it's floating on the top.
Yeah.
Right.
So that is our density column.
Right, so that's our density column. One thing we're going to do now is we're going to try something really cool, and it may or may not work.
What is it?
Right, I'm going to ask
I
Zechariah.
have no idea what this is.
This might not work in time.
Let's
We
see.
might have to cut the video short, but we're going to ask Zechariah to stir the density column, see if we can mix it all up, and then see what happens. So give it a really quick stir. And get it going round. Can you see all the liquids are mixing together a bit? Right, can you see them? Let's have another look. Zeki, let me have a go.
Whoa, it's just went back to the same original
Can
thing.
you see how they're mixed up a bit?
Yeah.
Now, this might not work quickly enough,
But
let's just give it a second.
yeah,
Right, let's come back and talk to us so we can explain our density column.
yeah.
Right,
It's a little
so
bit like fizzing.
while that density column is just sorting itself out, and I promise you there's no tricks going on, it's just sorting itself out, it might not get there, but those liquids have different densities, so eventually it will sort itself out. It will sort itself out.
Yeah.
Let's
And
have
it
a
might
look.
have honey.
Right, so you can see already
It's coming back.
it's coming back. Right, you can
So
see
you can
already,
see now the white spirit and the washing up liquid
But
and
do you know what's happened? Do you know one of the things that's happened that's going to mean that it's going to take a very long time?
Yeah.
Is when you mix.
Yeah.
So let's come back. When you mix washing up liquid with water, what do you get?
soap.
Soap and bubbles. So we've got quite a few bubbles in there.
Yeah.
So that might not come back together now because of all the bubbles. But that doesn't matter. Why don't
You can
you?
still see 4 colours.
You can still see the different colours. You still see the density. And why don't you at home
And you
ask
see
your
one of
grown-ups?
the bit of a heart.
Why don't they at home ask their grown-ups if they could have a go at making a density?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be really good. And why don't you comment
And
below
if you want,
and let us know that you've seen it, our video?
Yeah.
if you want, you can do more than ours.
Yeah, you could put other things in there as well.
Because I saw on YouTube once a 100-layer density column.
A 100-layer density.
Yes.
That is a lot of liquids. I don't know if you had those. So we went round our house and
picked-
got what we had.
Yeah.
So I knew that in my garage I had white spirit. You might not have white spirit at home, but you don't have to use that.
Because it's only for cleaning paintbrushes and
You,
stuff.
you might have. We had olive oil,
I have talk.
but you might have vegetable oil. Give that a go. See what happens.
Yeah.
And I think we have paintbrushes.
Yeah, have a look at pancake syrup if you have it.
Yeah, so
See what
pancake
that
syrup,
happens.
any sorts of syrups that you've got, golden syrup,
Yeah.
anything like that. See what difference they make. See if you can
And
make.
we forgot to use golden syrup because we do have some.
We do have some golden syrup, but we've done enough layers, haven't we?
Yeah.
Maybe we could go away now and try our own density columns again and make it. You can make one, and Malachi can make one, and I can make
Yeah.
one.
But
All
I
different
am
things.
not using
Yeah.
that.
White spirit.
You're not using
Why?
white spirit. You don't have to use white spirit.
And now
you
we
can
can
use
actually
yours.
do
using
the
the
proper
white
order.
with it.
Right.
Remember
Okay.
with the water before the.
Yeah,
No,
so we can
yeah,
get our order
right,
different now.
but
We've learnt
I
something.
do not
Now,
want to do that.
I hope you've all learnt something.
Yeah.
Check it out tomorrow. We'll try and do another video.
Yeah.
And we'll see what other science things we can get up to. Remember, later on in the week, we're looking at seeing if we can make an actual Zechariah-sized boat float
Yep.
so that he can float on the paddling pool.
Yeah.
Please like our videos.
High five.
Subscribe to our channel.
And I
and
think I can already float on this one.
comment below. Right, say goodbye, Zechariah.
Bye.
Say goodbye, Malachi.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
See you soon.
Bye.